time for a holiday haul. Hello everybody, it is after Christmas and I have lots of things to show you. I have several things to show you guys, including some bookish items and plus a whole metric butt ton of books that have arrived for the holiday season. Let's get into it. But let's first start with this amazing shirt that I got from Merchant Realms that says, "Never mind, a passive aggressive raven." And I absolutely love it. I think it's fantastic. It's amazing. I have a rep code. I do rep for them, and I do make a very tiny percentage of money off of anything that you buy from Merchant Realms. I'll leave a link down below. I believe my rep code is Nurse10. If I'm wrong, editing Alyssa will put whatever the right one is. Yeah. This is the first thing, and they have a few designs. They have more designs coming like every couple months, but this one I just absolutely loved. They also published the Seventh Cadence, which if you watched my fantasy books, oh no, if you watched my new author loves video, that's the video. Talked about that book there. I really love Jim Wilburn's work. I love that I get to work with this small sort of indie press company. Love it. Love everything about it. Get yourself a shirt. This is hilarious. Picked out a couple other things that they said they would surprise me with throughout the year, so psyched. Also, speaking of clothes, my Hello a Lovely order came in, my most recent and maybe my last rep package. It is the last month of repping, so I have 3 t-shirts, a sweat t-shirt, and then I should have a pop socket, but I think the pop socket's coming separately. All right, so I got 3 little shirts here, and let's go through them. So this first one is embroidered. I love when they do embroidered shirts. It says Wild for Wentworth. If you don't know, Persuasion is one of my favorite Jane Austen novels. It's between that and Pride and Prejudice. The older I get, the more I lean towards Persuasion, but Pride and Prejudice was like the gateway drug. But anyway, love this. Super cute. I also have this for PMP, and it says, can you read that? Can you read that? What excellent boiled potatoes. Because Mr. Collins is ridiculous, and I absolutely love this shirt. And then, of course, I couldn't pass up the Read More Books sweatshirt. Do we need to say anything else? No, we don't. Clearly, I really like black clothing. Anyway, so we'll throw those over there. Very excited for those. Love those. Also rep for Hello Lovely through at least the end of this year. So if you want to get some orders in, my rep code is Nurse15. Get those orders in before my rep code runs out. I have 2 more things I want to show you guys. I'll do these first. So my mom got me these really cool bookends. There's 2 of them, and they're super cool. They're like 3-dimensional, and look, they're 3-dimensional, and she just is putting her books away, and she even has wine on her shelf, which my brother pointed out. I didn't notice that, and I thought, well, isn't that appropriate for me? These will be going up in the Book Nook. Minor Book Nook update. The supplies for the final installment of shelves are coming in. I got a shipment this morning. There will be more coming over the next week. I gotta go pick up something from the hardware store today when I'm done filming, and hopefully like by mid-January all of this will be done and I can give you like a grand review of the Book Nook. Also, Goonies Never Say Die. I got matching ones of these for me and my brother, because what else do you do when you're an 80s child? Then my mom also got me this really lovely quilt, which she didn't make, which is just funny because my mom could have made this, but she didn't. I don't care if she did or not. It's really lovely. It's bookshelves with really beautiful fabric, and I even like the back with this really cool paisley, and it's super warm and comfy, and we're going to use it now because I am cold. It's very cold today in New York. So those are all like the random bookish items I got for the holidays, or during the holiday season, or for myself for the holiday season. You know how it goes. This is my tried and true from Unplugged book box, but I don't think they have these anymore. I love them. Let's go through a whole bunch of books that I bought for myself, and some of these came from publishers, and some of them came from Naomi, because she sent me a big care package of books, and some of them came from Jesus, which I will pull those down at the end because they are extra special. So I'm going to start here. I picked up Under the Whispering Door from Barnes & Noble the last time I went to Barnes & Noble, and it's their exclusive edition, which I feel like it's a little bit of a jip of an exclusive edition, because really what it has is it has like a bonus story in it, which is good, but like they could have made it prettier too, you know? And then I was trying to also get The House in the Cerulean Sea, because I don't have my TJ Klunes. Almost all of my TJ Klunes I have either just listened to or I've read them as ebooks. So I got Flashfire and The Extraordinaries already this year, and so now I've finished with these 2, and I do have to go through his whole like Wolf Song series as well, but I've got 2 more for the shelves. Super excited. I still need to read Under the Whispering Door. I do love The House on the Cerulean Sea. I think it's like a warm hug. Love it. So I don't know where we put all these. We'll put them down I'm going to try to separate out things I got from publishers just so it's a little bit more organized, but it's not organized. Nothing in my life is ever organized. I finally picked up a copy of Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney because it's now one of two things I haven't read from her. I haven't read this yet, and I also haven't read this tiny short story that was also for sale called Mr. Salary. And I mean, it is absolutely tiny. It is adorably sized, and I'm really glad that I bought it. It was probably obscenely priced for the fact that it is this big. I mean, it's £3.50, but I don't live in England, so what does it matter that it's £3.50? I keep looking at myself over there. I'm going to stop doing that. But anyway, I did read Beautiful World, Where Are You? It'll be in my notable reads from December. Wrap up whenever I do that, probably in early January. But yeah, really excited to get into and completing the rest of her work that is available. Love her. She just speaks to me. I have been slowly collecting hard copies of The Wheel of Time. So this is New Spring, which is the prequel. Also, a copy of Eye of the World arrived and The Great Hunt. I'm still waiting on a copy of The Dragon Reborn, which I know I ordered. I don't have it yet. I was doing some Christmas prep and I wanted to go to the book barn, but the book barn happened to be closed last week. So I had to also go to the grocery store, part of Christmas prep, right? And I went to the grocery store that has like bargain books in like this random bin in the toiletries department. I don't know why it's there, but I did find three things there. I found this Iris Johansson Smokescreen, which sounded like a fun thriller. It's a high stakes thriller. Journalist shows up on Eve Duncan's doorstep with a plea for help, and Jill Cassidy has just come from a small African village with a heart-wrenching story. Half the villagers, many of them children, have been killed in a horrific attack by guerrilla soldiers, their bodies burned beyond recognition. Now the families desperately need Eve's skills as a forensic sculptor to identify their loved ones and get closer so they can begin to heal. That sounds really, really good and interesting. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like Bones, which I used to be really obsessed with, that those Kathy Reichs books. I got Kate Atkinson's Big Sky. I have a bunch of books by Kate Atkinson, and it's probably time I start reading them instead of just collecting them. This is Detective Jackson Brodie returns in a triumphant new novel about secrets, sex, and lies. I probably have some other things in this Jackson Brodie series because I have so many of her books, but we'll see. And then I also got Chimes of a Lost Cathedral by Janet Finch, who wrote White Oleander, which is the second in like a Russian historical fiction. Series, or at least duology, and I have the first one I found for like, I think out of pocket, like $1 online, because I had some credits and whatnot. So that is arriving at some point in the new year. So I will be reading these with my friend Emma because we both love Russian historical fiction, Russian history, lit, etc., etc. Let's see what else is in these piles. From Book of the Month, I got a bunch of books because I got my Book of the Month finalist book. I also had a couple credits, so I picked up Olga Dies Dreaming, which I'm really excited for. Finally picked up a copy of Black Buck because if one more person told me to read this and I hadn't read it yet, I think my head might have exploded. So I also picked up a copy of Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby, which is our TBR Lowdown pick for December. I haven't read it yet. I'm reading it on Thursday. That's all I'm doing all day. It's nice and short. I'm just going to have a nice thrillerly day. I can't say that. And then I picked up this collection of, like, I guess they're essays. I don't know. But You Seemed Happy, A Marriage in Pieces. Yeah, it's essays. But You Seemed Happy, But You Seem So Happy, A Marriage in Pieces and Bits, which I just kind of have a thing for, like, frank discussions on what it's like to be divorced, especially, like, nowadays, because I'm divorced. I mean, and just, like, this phrase is something that I don't know, in my divorce story, it's, this is something I've said so many times, and I think like people are well-meaning when they say those things, but it's weird. It's actually not nice to say that. Don't say that. If your friends are going through a divorce, don't say, but you seem so happy. Like, don't say that because, or don't go like, but you guys probably like the couple that was never going to break up. Don't say that. Uh, it's not helping. It's not helping anybody. But yeah, so I'm really excited to read somebody else's experience. It's actually something that I have been noticing in romance. I really like second chance romance post-divorce, I think because it's more relatable to me. But anyway, speaking of romance, I have a couple things that I got from Hello Lovely Box. If you haven't been following me on Instagram, I got Chiggybane by Carmel Rhodes, which has the best cover ever and looks really, really good. And then a cute holiday romance, Window Shopping by Tessa Bailey, who's like a classic, you know, romance author that everybody loves. It got this fantasy romance, which looks really good, The Rogue King. And also, they sent us one book of our choosing for being a rep, and this from like their big vault box. They did this huge box of like all the books I think they've ever featured, or most of the books they've ever featured. And this was the one that I chose because it sounded really good. And it's Filthy English, One Night, Two Damaged Hearts, and The Passion of a Lifetime. So figured that would be really nice. So those are all my little romance reads, which I need to read more of my romances. I've been like hoarding but not reading. There's also like a giant Barnes & Noble bag because I did go to Barnes & Noble. Now some of these are not from Barnes & Noble, but we're going to go through this. I read recently Black Sunshine by Karina Hale. I think that's how you say her name. This was fantastic. This is like a vampire paranormal romance. Love this. I still have to read book 2, The Blood is Love. And then there is also like a side story that's one of the characters. I need to get that one as well, but I really liked it, so I picked up a copy. And now that Fantasy Corners can be able to be built out, I'm really excited because that means that all the books in my room, like my bedroom, can just be my romance books. And it'll just be like lovey romance corner. I picked up a copy of Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee because I know that it's on HBO, and I've heard a lot of people talking about it, especially recently, because of American Thanksgiving. So I wanted a copy so that I can finally read this because I am woefully, I don't want to say ignorant, but yeah, I'm like a little ignorant on Native American history and like the whitewashed version of it. So one of my things for the new year is to delve a little bit more into Native, Indigenous writings and histories and nonfiction so that I can have a better understanding of not just culture, but experience, etc., etc., etc. So that falls into that bucket. I picked up a copy of The Good House by Tiana Reeve Dew, which is a book that Naomi has often, my podcast co-host, has often mentioned as being one of her favorite horror books, and she really likes this writer. And again, I found this, I think, with some credits and some other things for about $1 or $2. So I picked this up, and I will be reading this for spooky season next year. I got myself a copy of At Night, All Blood is Black by David Diop, which was a Booker Prize winner, and it was also on Obama's list for the year, and I didn't know it was this short, but it just sounded very good. It came highly recommended also by Eric Carl Anderson, who I love, and Naomi and I have been meeting to read this together, so I saw a copy. It was just like randomly on a table. It wasn't even like part of a display. It was like someone just dropped it on there, and I was like, nope, picking it up. Picked up a copy of The City of the Mist by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. This is the guy who wrote The Shadow of the Wind, which I have books 1 and 4, and I have this. So I'm waiting to get the rest of them, but I really want to read this series. This is a Spanish writer, a very famous Spanish, like sort of mystery writer. I think it's kind of like mystery and maybe a little magical realism. I have pictures with Santa, if you really want to see those. I have lovely pictures with Santa because I am a grown-ass, almost 40-year-old woman taking pictures with Santa. I picked up a copy of Odins Child, which I've been seeing around, and it sounds really good, and it's based in Viking myth, I think. No, and it has Norse roots, which is something that Jesus is really into too. This is YA, so I figured we could both read this if I enjoy it, see if he likes it, and then you know, we can talk about it. I don't know. So I like getting things that are like things that he likes because we don't have these same interests, especially in like nonfiction-y works. But it's nice when we can kind of overlap and I can get a little of what he likes. Anyway, so this looked really, really, really good, and I'm excited to finally read this. Also, like, just like this bloody stump on the inside, so I'm expecting it to be just really crazy. Also, the Norse gods were like vicious. Anyway, I picked up a copy of Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne so that I can read this when I'm done with the Faithful and the Fallen series. I have a bunch of books from Naomi, which I'm going to show you, and then I'll show you the few books I've gotten from publishers this year. I'm sorry I'm not like giving you descriptions of these books, but there's a lot of books and we're already 20 minutes in. I don't really want to edit like a 40-minute video over books. I'm about to do that, but shut up, Alyssa. So let me get all of these out because there's like a whole bunch of mass market paperbacks that she found for me. So if you don't know, like my co-host Naomi and I, we have a shared Apple Note. We've mentioned it on the podcast. We have a shared Apple Note where we both keep lists of books that we've been looking to thrift. And when we're both thrifting books, we will look for each other, things for each other. And we'll get them. So I have been reading this book Magician by Raymond E. Feist because Henry Cavill mentioned this author in an interview, and I was like, let me try to. Henry Cavill, like this enormous dork, loves the series or mentions the series at least. It's worth checking out. It had pretty decent reviews, and the first book is actually split into 2 volumes. So I've already read volume 1. I need to read volume 2. This copy has all of it in there, but I'm enjoying it. It's fantasy with a little bit of sci-fi because there's like portals to another time. There's sort of like space travel, kind of. That's not right. Those are like space time travel. Does that make sense? Anyway, it's really good. But I was like, hey, Naomi, like if you find anything in this series, because the series is massive, like absolutely massive. And then there's all these different side series, like in the same world, kind of like Robin Hobb does. And she was like, yeah, sure. So she found the 3 in the main series for me. So that's The Magician, Thorn, and Darkness at Sethanon. So Sethanon? I don't know. I can't say that. I love these. Her copy is fantastic, right? And I was like super psyched. And then she's like, oh, Alyssa, the rest of it's a surprise. I'm like, okay, what's the surprise? She found so many in the side series. It's crazy. So I don't think I have any side series totally complete, but I've got like, I'm just going to show them to you. I've got so many of the side series that I'm super excited. And they all have like cheesy ass covers. And I have like a whole new world of fantasy to just like fall into now. And there's so many books. Like I absolutely love this. I think this is why I love fantasy series, is because I can spend like years of my life just living in a world if I like it. So as opposed to like sometimes with literary fiction, I can only spend like 6 hours. But here I can be in this world forever. So I think that's everything she found in like that series. But don't worry, that's not all she found for me, because she sent me a massive, massive box of books. So obviously we're both on the lookout for hard copies of Wheel of Time books. So this is book 9, Winter's Heart. And she found book 4, The Shadow Rising, which is really great. I also have this in mass market paperback, but love it. And super excited. So I'm slowly getting my Wheel of Time in hardback as I read books. I kind of find them in hardback. Also, Naomi's looking for at the same time. And Naomi seems to have much better thrifting than I do, like in terms of selection. But one day I will have a complete hardback copy, like series of Wheel of Time. It's going to happen. She found me a copy of American Gods, which I haven't read from Neil Gaiman, but I really want to because I believe Shelby, when we interviewed Shelby in the bookstore, she mentioned really loving, particularly American Gods. So I'm excited to read this. Also, look how young Neil Gaiman was. It's crazy. Anyway, so love this. I just think it's a little ridiculous that this was $7 for a mass market paperback, but it is like the kind of book that, you know, everybody's going to buy. So I get it. And she picks up a copy of The Need by Helen Phillips. This book we saw and didn't get, and then we've been trying to get it again. And she finally found it again. And this is when Molly, home alone with her 2 young children, hears footsteps in the living room. She tries to convince herself that it's sleep deprivation. She's been hearing things these days, startling at loud noises, imagining the worst case scenario. It's what mothers do, she knows. But then the footsteps come again, and she catches a glimpse of movement. Suddenly, Molly finds herself face to face with an intruder who knows far too much about her and her family. As she attempts to protect those she loves most, Molly must also acknowledge her own frailty. I guess fragility would have also worked. She slips down an existential rabbit hole where she must confront the dualities of motherhood, the ecstasies and the dread, the languor and the ferocity, the banality and the transcendence as the book hurtles towards a mind-bending conclusion. Like it's not very long. It just sounds really good. Sorry, I can't read these things. I don't know why I always try to do things without my readers on. I have just a note that says Toni Morrison anything. So she picked up Beloved for me because I have not read Toni Morrison. I'm fairly certain I was probably supposed to read something by Toni Morrison in school, but I don't think I did. So we're fixing that in 2022. She found a copy of Shiggybane, which I've been wanting to read for so long. This was the winner of the Booker Prize in 2020, and everybody loves it apparently except for Naomi. But yeah, I'm really excited to finally read Shiggybane. She sent me, and she had an extra copy of How the Word is Passed, and we are going to be reading this together. I'm really excited to finally read this, and I've been waiting for this copy to come. This was the one book she had put aside for me, and then she went to McKay's and bought all the books. So here it is. And then she found this by Hilary Mantel, who wrote Wolf Hall, which I have somewhere on these shelves. And this is the Assassination of Margaret Thatcher. It's a collection of short stories, which just sounded really good. And she got us both a copy so that we can buddy read. So I'm really excited. I will honestly say, get yourself a reading friend, and especially if they're like a pen pal. This is kind of the really fun part. Is like we can go to different spots and go thrifting, and we see different things, and we have different demographics of people who get rid of books, and like it's just this is the most fun ever. Also, I need to just get new black glasses, like regular glasses, but these are my readers. Anyway, and then I have a collection of books that were sent to me by the publisher. Oh, I will say now, I got the David Grohl book, but from William Morrow, or whoever under William Morrow publishes it. And thank you very much for sending it, because that went straight to Jesus, and he is off of it somewhere reading it because he really, really wanted it. And I was like, wait, I feel like I got offered that book. And so then I got it for him. Anyway, so I also got from William Morrow, Sex Cult Nun, which is something that I'm really excited to read in January. I know that I did post about this, and so this is about somebody who was in the Children of God cult, which if you've never seen, I've seen some documentaries on this cult. They're crazy. I love a good cult story. I love a good cult memoir. I love a good cult anything, nonfiction. So cults, here, love it. I got this collection of Agatha Christie stories from William Morrow. It says A Deadly Affair, and they are like, how do they describe this? This is an all-new collection of stories about love gone horribly wrong. It will get your heart racing. So I figured I would save this for February so I can have like juicy romance, but also this is stack fell. This is something that I'm really excited for because I don't remember that I asked for it, but I'm glad that I did and I forgot about it. So this is Daughter of the Moon Goddess, which comes out in January. And this not only is a beautiful book, but it sounds really good too. People really need to do more underneath the covers. So this is from Harper Voyager, and this is an enthralling debut fantasy inspired by the legend of Chang'e, Chang''E. Very wrong, probably. The Chinese moon goddess, in which a young woman's quest to free her mother sets her on a dangerous path and pits her against the most powerful immortal in the land, or in the realm. It's so beautiful. Seriously, could that be more beautiful? I don't think it can. I don't want this to fall over since I already had a bunch of shit fall over next to me. Grand Central sent me Winter Water, a thriller by Suzanne Jansen, and this is just set in Sweden mystery. I feel like anything set in like Norway, Sweden, like Iceland, I call it my Scandinavian thrillers. They are gritty and more like what I like. Like think The Chestnut Man, that's more my kind of thriller. I've got sent a copy from Grand Central also of Dava Shastri's Last Day. I can't say that right, but this sounds so good. This is about a woman who basically has a very short amount of time to live, and she just kind of lives her life, and she takes her life into her own hands, and she does whatever she wants. So this is one of the world's wealthiest women has always lived with her sterling reputation in mind. A brain cancer diagnosis at the age of 70, however, changes everything, and Dava decides to take her death, like all matters of her life, into her own hands. So it just sounds like it's going to be sad but uplifting. You know I like sad things. So I have 2 fantasy books from Tor.com, and I'm really excited to get into these. I have Until the Last of Me, which is the second in the Take Them to the Stars series. So the first book is called The History of What Comes Next. It's this like, it's just interesting. Like it's kind of like thrillery elements. It's got historical fantasy elements as well. It's got sci-fi, like space kind of elements, and it's got like a really strong female, like powerful female lean to it. And I like basically women are going to save the world is essentially what I get from this series, and that better be the way that it's going, because it sounds like the women in this series are going to save the world, and I'm really excited about it. I know that it doesn't get talked about a lot, and it has some split feelings, but I really enjoyed this series. I think that Sylvain is a fantastic writer. He has some other series that I want to try, and I know that some of my friends prefer his other series over this new one, but this is how I got introduced to him, and I really like it. Tor.com also sent me this copy of Servant Mage by Kate Elliott, which is just a little novella that sounds really good, and I'll read you a little bit from the back. Felion is a lamplighter, a low-level mage with the ability to create and sustain light by tapping into the demonic energy that permeates her bones. When a group of rebel monarchists free her from indentured servitude, she is forced to confront what she thought she knew about the world and the way it works. And when she gets caught up in a conspiracy to kill the latest royal baby and wipe out the monarchist movement for good, Felion must choose between duty and survival. Luckily, she has more than just her lamplighting skills up her sleeve. So it does sound really good, right? Like, it sounds like a lot of fun. I've been slowly getting, they've been re-releasing the Octavia Butler books, Grand Central Husband. So this is the last book in the Lilith's Brood series. So I'm really excited to finally start the series next year. I have all three of them now, and I love this one the most. I think this is my favorite of all three covers that they redid. I feel like I have some from the Patternist series as well. And I believe, no, I don't believe I have anything from the Earthseed books, but I'm slowly collecting all of Octavia Butler because I don't know how I made it to the ripe old age of 38 without having read her before this year, but we're making up for lost time. I have two other books that were sent to me by publishers. I don't even know what this is about, but this came over from William Morrow, so I probably did know what it was about when I asked for it. And this is Walhalla, a novel by Nikki May. First of all, it's just stunning. I love that. Sort of almost like a Liberty print, like a bold Liberty print cover. And so this is this is an incisive and exhilarating debut novel following three Anglo-Nigerian best friends and the lethally glamorous fourth woman who infiltrates their group, the most unforgettable girls since Carrie, Samantha, Charlotte, and Miranda. Oh, interesting. Yes. So this is a sharp modern take on friendship, ambition, culture, and betrayal. Walhalla, Trouble, is an unforgettable novel from a brilliant new voice. I feel like in 2022, I'm going to be all about the friendship books. I have so many books that deal with like female friendships. So excited. And then the last book I have here is from Hachette, and this is called The Divorce Colony. So I guess essentially this is this is nonfiction, and this is about Sioux Falls, South Dakota, which I guess had the laxest divorce laws in the U.S. back in the late 1800s. So you had a lot of women going there to get divorced from their probably horrible husbands, and so this area became nicknamed the divorce colony. So you had all these like divorcees roaming around Sioux Falls, North Dakota, and I didn't know that anything like this existed. I didn't know anything about this, and honestly, it just sounds like it'll be really interesting. Like, how could I say no to this? We're going right back to divorce again, but like, how could I say no to this? It sounded so good. So, anywho, okay, so I totally forgot to show you guys what Jesus got me for Christmas. They are these beautiful editions of Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones, and I need to show you these things. So the sleeves are gorgeous. Every sleeve has a different doorway, and I guess I'll start here. This is the Castle in the Air. And these are from the Folio Society. I don't know if I said that. And the end papers are beautiful. They have illustrations throughout. They are just the most stunning books ever. Sorry, I'm just like hopping in here to show you things excitedly. This is A House of Many Ways. This might be my favorite cover, I think. Look how beautiful that is. It's so, so beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous, and they're beautiful. They're so beautiful, and hopefully you can't hear whatever Jesus is listening to downstairs because I don't need copyright infringement. Look how beautiful these are. Like, oh God, they're stunning. He spoils me so much. I would never buy from the Folio Society for myself because it's so expensive. I just would drool over them. So I love that he spoils me and gives me these beautiful books. He's always giving me something from the Folio Society. Come on, focus. He's always giving me things from the Folio Society, and I love him dearly for it. They're absolutely beautiful. They speak to my book-wormy heart, and I love them. Anyway, back to the rest of the video. I just wanted to show you the beautiful things that Jesus got me. I have to pick up the stack that fell over down here. I have to find space for all of this on the shelves. Most of it is fantasy, so it will be going in a different area. But yeah, these shelves are getting filled up too. So we're gonna have to figure this out. But I'm going to be trying to do a couple things in the new year to wean some things off the shelf, cull some things off the shelf. Insert word about removing books from the shelf behind me. I have a lot of like historical fiction books and like things, random things that I just picked up because I thought they sounded interesting. So I feel like we're going to be doing a lot of read a chapter, is it worth it? Should it stay or should it go? Kind of videos in the new year. If that's something you'd like to see, let me know down in the comments. If there's something else you'd like to see in the new year, let me know as well. And if you're so inclined, if you feel so compelled, if you feel called to do so, please like and subscribe. Every way you interact with the channel does help me out tremendously. Hello to all of my new subscribers, and hello to everyone who's been here from the beginning. I love you all. If you're new, introduce yourself. Otherwise, I will see you guys in my next video, whatever it may be, because it's my channel and I can do whatever I want. Ciao.
So just sit with me, talking to the night until the morning, building chemistry. I don't think I ever wanna go come closer next to me. Trying to find another way to say this, but I think we were meant to be.